Picture this. You are 17 years old, and you have just found out you have cancer. You haven't told most people yet. You're still figuring out how to say the words out loud. And in a few days, you have to walk back into your normal life, school, practice, the people who know you as one version of yourself, while carrying something they don't know about yet. For most people, that walk back into normal life is the hardest part. But what if, on the very first night you walked back out there, 57 people you barely expected anything from did something that told you, without a single awkward conversation, that you were not walking into this alone? This is the story of Ashley Adamites, a cheerleader at Foothill High School in Redding, California. And it's a story that, by the time it ends, will make you think differently about what a team actually is, and what it means when an entire community decides, all at once, without rehearsal, to show up for one person. It starts on a Friday night. Football season opener. The kind of night that, for most schools, runs on a script everyone already knows. Cheerleaders on the sideline. Stands filling up. Players warming up on the field. Routine. Ashley was there, on the cheer squad, doing what she always did. From the outside, everything looked completely normal. But a few weeks earlier, Ashley had been diagnosed with leukemia. Leukemia is a cancer of the blood and bone marrow. In simple terms, it means the body starts producing abnormal blood cells that crowd out the healthy ones, the cells that fight infection, carry oxygen, and help blood clot properly. Treatment usually means chemotherapy, powerful medication designed to kill those abnormal cells, but which also affects healthy cells along the way. It is exhausting. It changes how you look. It changes how your body feels almost every single day. Ashley was going through that. While also being 17. While also being a cheerleader. While also showing up to a football game on a Friday night because that's what she had always done, and she wasn't ready to let cancer take that away from her too. Before the game began, something happened that the other cheerleaders noticed immediately, and that the people in the stand started to notice too. There was movement near the south end of the field. Coordinated movement. The kind that doesn't happen by accident. The announcer's voice came over the loudspeaker, asking for everyone's attention. The Foothill Cougars football team, all 57 players, had organized something. And what they did next is the kind of moment that, once you understand what it meant, you can't stop thinking about. One by one, each of the 57 players walked toward Ashley. And one by one, each of them placed an orange rose at her feet. Orange. Not red, not white, not any of the colors people typically associate with flowers and ceremony. Orange, specifically, because orange is the color of leukemia awareness. 57 roses. 57 players. 57 individual choices to participate in something that had nothing to do with football, on a night that was supposed to be about football. Think about the logistics of that for a second. 57 teenage boys had to be told what was happening. 57 teenage boys had to agree to do it. 57 teenage boys had to actually walk out, one at a time, in front of a packed stadium, and do something quiet and emotional and completely outside the normal performance of high school masculinity in front of their peers, their coaches, their families, and a cheering crowd. And every single one of them did it. There's research on why moments like this matter so much, not just to the person they're directed at, but to everyone who witnesses them. Psychologist Dr. Jonathan Haidt has written extensively about a specific emotional response called moral elevation, the feeling you get when you witness someone else's act of generosity, kindness, or moral beauty. Unlike empathy, which is feeling what someone else feels, elevation is about feeling uplifted by watching goodness in action. Haidt's research found that elevation has a physical signature. People report a warm, expansive feeling in the chest, sometimes described as a lump in the throat, and a strong motivation afterward to go and do something kind themselves. That's what happened in that stadium. 57 Roses didn't just tell Ashley she had support. They sent a wave of elevation through everyone watching, every parent in the stands, every teacher, every student who would later post the video online and write, in their own words, some version of, "This is what humanity is supposed to look like." But let's go back to Ashley for a moment. Because the players weren't just performing an act of kindness in the abstract. They were responding to something very specific and very real. When you're diagnosed with a serious illness as a teenager, one of the things that often gets overlooked, beneath the treatment plans and doctor's appointments and the practical logistics of staying alive, is the social experience of it. Teenagers are, more than almost any other age group, deeply attuned to belonging. To being normal. To not being the person everyone whispers about, or the person people don't know how to talk to anymore. Researchers who study adolescent illness, including work published through institutions like the American Childhood Cancer Organization, have documented again and again that one of the most significant predictors of emotional well-being in young cancer patients isn't just the quality of their medical care, it's whether their peer relationships stay intact. Whether their friends keep treating them like a person, not a diagnosis. Whether their community finds a way to say, "We see what's happening, and we're still here," without making that the only thing anyone sees. 57 Roses did exactly that. They didn't turn Ashley into a spectacle of pity. They didn't make a speech about how brave she was, or frame her as someone to be looked at differently from now on. They walked up, one at a time, placed something small and specific and meaningful at her feet, and then, presumably, went back to playing football. Because that's what the night was actually about. Ashley's illness didn't have to become the entire event. It became one part of a normal Friday night that also happened to include something extraordinary. That balance, acknowledgement without spectacle, is harder to get right than it sounds. Most gestures of support either go too small, where the person feels unseen, or too big, where the person feels like their illness has become a performance for everyone else's benefit. 57 Roses, placed quickly, quietly, one after another, threaded that needle almost perfectly. And here's something else worth sitting with. This wasn't initiated by adults. It wasn't a school administration project, or a fundraiser organized by a parent committee, or something assigned for community service credit. This came from the team. From teenagers. From the same age group that, in countless other contexts, get stereotyped as self-absorbed, distracted, more interested in their phones than the people around them. 57 of them organized a coordinated act of public compassion for a classmate. On their own. Before a game they cared about. In front of everyone they knew. There's a concept in social psychology called pro-social modeling, the idea that when people see their peers behave generously, it doesn't just create a single moment of kindness. It resets what feels normal. It shifts what an entire group considers to be the standard. Once one person on a team does something brave and kind in public, it becomes dramatically easier for the next person to do the same thing. The first rose was probably the hardest. By the 57th, it had become simply what this team does. That's how a single idea, maybe from one player, maybe from a coach, maybe from someone on the cheer squad who knew Ashley well, turned into 57 individual acts within minutes. Not because everyone was told to. Because once the first person did it, everyone else understood, instantly, that this was now something they were all part of. Video of the moment ended up online, and it spread the way these things sometimes do, not because it was dramatic in a loud way, but because it was the opposite. It was quiet. It was sincere. It was 57 teenage boys doing something that adults often assume teenagers wouldn't think to do, or wouldn't be brave enough to do in front of each other. People watching from outside the situation entirely, strangers online, with no connection to Foothill High School, no idea who Ashley was before that night, found themselves emotionally affected by it anyway. That's the elevation effect again. You don't need to know someone personally for an act of collective kindness to move you. Sometimes watching strangers be good to each other is enough to remind you what's possible. Ashley was going through something no 17-year-old should have to go through. Chemotherapy. The uncertainty of a cancer diagnosis. The strange experience of looking and feeling different while everyone around you continues with their normal lives. And on one Friday night, 57 of her classmates found a way to say, all at once, in a way she would never forget, "We know. We're with you. You're still one of us." Sometimes the most powerful support isn't a long conversation, or a fundraiser, or a speech. Sometimes it's 57 small orange flowers, placed one at a time, by 57 people who decided that showing up mattered more than knowing exactly what to say. Picture this. You are 17 years old, and you have just found out you have cancer. And on a Friday night, under the lights, 57 people show you exactly how not alone you are. Changing the way we see people, one story at a time. Every week I share powerful true stories, human psychology, and life-changing lessons that challenge the way we think about conflict, connection, and what it means to be human. If you enjoy stories that make you think deeper, feel more, and see the world differently, you're in the right place. Like if this story moved you. Comment your thoughts below. What would you have done? Share this with someone who needs this reminder. Subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after the video ends.